role, though, does inner healing? You actually brought out inner healing, and I remember being in India, and I was at a breakout session with a mutual friend of ours, and there was a thing on inner healing, and it was the first time I'd ever encountered it. It was almost about 10 years ago now. And I thought, what role does inner healing from trauma play within the Christian role of discipleship? And at the time, that was the first time I heard of it. And I was thinking, oh, this is unbiblical. This isn't right. It's some new age type of thing come in. But since then, I've seen more and more ministries talk about it that are helping deal with deliverance, but they're also dealing with trauma. They're dealing with this aspect that I think that, again, it's a corrective because we've gone too far another way. What role does this idea of this healing aspect that you write about, this inner healing or healing from trauma, how does that play? What role does that play in our discipleship?
I think today's world, being so impatient, people are going to be hurt much more than in the earlier world. Earlier world, there was violence and people were hurt through violence. Now we are seeing impatience causing a kind of violence. That is why today, capital punishment, not capital punishment, what do you call it? Hitting children.
Yeah, physical discipline is what they call that.
Yeah, physical discipline is outlawed because the people went beyond. You know, the impatience of today's world has caused a lot of pain in people. And in my ministry of discipling, very often I have encountered people are not growing because they have pain and unresolved, unforgiven experiences, especially with their parents, especially fathers, you know. And I've often had to, I mean, these things are, I'm not an expert in this at all, but we need to bring it up and help that person to come to grips, to apply scripture even to those experiences, which earlier we may have not talked about. But today, I think today's world is expressing itself a little more emotionally, that people are talking about it and it's real. And so I think it's important for us to apply scripture to people's wounds.
And how do we help? What's the proper way of doing that? How do we go about that? How do we identify that trauma or roadblock that's there and help them overcome that? Is it a deliverance? Is it counseling? What is it? Or is it many? It depends on the person and it's many different approaches.
Yeah, I think it's many different approaches. I think there is a time when you feel that people have been oppressed by Satan and you need to pray for deliverance from that. I think very often it happens through forgiveness. But before forgiveness, there has to be acknowledgement of wrong and a full recognition that something terrible has been done. If we don't do that and ask people to ask forgiveness, to forgive those who hurt them, we are hurting them even more. You know, so these are the things that I think have helped me when I realized that if you don't acknowledge wrong and you ask people to forgive those who hurt you without acknowledging that wrong was done, you are really hurting these people. That's not a scriptural approach. Scripture is just, God is just, and God does not like injustice, and injustice has to be addressed. So that is the way I approach this inner healing. I'm not all that fond of this word inner healing because it has all these, you know,
connotations and build up.
Yeah.
What would you prefer to call it then?
I don't know, just healing of wounds or, you know.
Emotional scars, psychological scars.
Yeah.
I understand I understand the terminology has got a lot of build up around it. They're not very biblical ideas, and we want to make sure that we stay biblical in our approach of it.